Welcome back and thank you for being there. And gradually, the children in Oyo State were abducted, adding yet another painful chapter of a crisis that has seen hundreds of Nigerian children snatched from classroom, from homes, and from safety. Today, we ask the hard question: how did we get here? Who is responsible? And what must we change now to protect Nigerian children? This is not just a security conversation, it's a conversation about souls of the nation, because gradually we are beginning to lose it and we are beginning to live as if it's a normal thing, and it's not normal. There is no country in the world that should remain silent or just keep giving sympathies, press briefing, why day by day our children are not even safe. So we are going to wonder, or would ask, what would the future look like without these children if we can't protect them? Of course, I'm being joined by Timothy Avile, who is a security expert. He joins me from Abeokuta. And secondly, I have Comrade Duke Alamboy. Of course, I'm sure you all know him. It's my regular guest and one of your favorite guests. And again with me, I have Dr. Felix Ido. These gentlemen this evening will help us dissect the insecurity challenges we've been facing. First of all, I start with Mr. Timothy Awele. If you can hear me, a very beautiful evening, and thank you for being on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
All right, thank you. I believe you can hear me clearly. Now, from security and intelligence standpoint, what does the Oyo State School abduction tells us about the operational capacity of criminal network in the southwest?
Yes, what happened in Oyo is not a spontaneous crime. It was a well-planned operation with deep logistics and in their own intelligence. There was surveillance. They surveilled the school, and they know that this school selected will have very good impact on the government, both state, federal, and even the international community. So right now, the Southwest is no longer a safe corridor, the active theater of these terrorist actions.
Now, Mr. Timothy, one would wonder, Nigeria has the army, it has the police, the DSS, the NSCDC, and now the newly established state police framework. With all these layers, why are civilians, especially children, still so vulnerable?
The problem is that it's not about the agencies we have a lot of them. The problem we have is the last mile intelligence, coordination. For example, as it happens, it normally has, the terrorists have 2 to 4 hours to go give a gap from where they commit the crime to where they are safer, so 2 to 4 hours. But the problem is that before our government or the security reacts, it takes maybe hours, it could be a day, because the problem is who is to react first. Is it the police? Is it the army? Is it DSS? Is it the NC? So that's the problem. We do not have a unified coordination, and that takes time. And that is the exact loophole these terrorists they capitalize on to strike. They know that it will take time before the government reacts or whatever the security agency reacts. So it's a big gap that need to be closed immediately. Otherwise, other people like Oshun, others, they are going to soon get this type of treatment if care is not taken.
Now, I'm wondering, when you said it's not about the security forces we have, it's about how fast they are able to respond. We know that we are in a problem. Nigeria is faced with insecurity, and this is a battle we've been trying to fight to overcome. Now, should they wait until something happens before they take action, or are they not supposed to be on standby to protect? Are we supposed to just relax and wait until the incident happens before we start maybe looking for solutions or swing into action, considering the fact that this is a menace that is gradually taking shape in Nigeria or taking hold in Nigeria? Are we not supposed to react? Are we supposed to sit and relax until it happens before we react?
In paper we have good structure, state school in paper, but in reality, in practice, that's where the problem is. So the Nigerian security architecture is built on reaction, not it's not proactive. You know, so something happened, then you go for rescue, you rescue them, we praise you, thank you, and we see something happen again, just like that. That is just the foundation of the security architecture. So, and that has to be changed. They need to be proactive, but being proactive, they need to shift from manual to AI-driven technology, happily that we now have in Nigeria, something that can give the security agency like 48-hour advance of what is going to happen. We have it in Nigeria. We want for a political will to actually implement this. So I think it's time for the president to act. You need to act. Then push that to the security agency that you have to be proactive, not react. After the incident, you recover those the kidnapped victims. There's no.
I'm struggling to hear you, Mr. Timothy. But if you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. It's not looking very pretty that we are still having this conversation, and it's almost like we should expect abductions, kidnappings barely every two weeks or even every day. It's not pretty. It's not funny. Now, looking at the struggle, are we winning or losing to insecurity in Nigeria?
We cannot say we are losing. The security agency, they are trying, based on what they have. They can only work with what they have.
Now, if you're going to say we are not losing, the situation keep getting worse. That's the question. So, what's the fact or what's the evidence that we are not losing? If every day the situation keeps increasing and the data keep increasing, so what's the? I'm wondering, how are we not losing?
The truth is that based on what is happening in the north, central, and all that, so other groups, they now see that kidnapping is a very profitable business with very little risk involved. So they are not copying. Apart from ideology, it's now for profit driven. So a lot of groups, they are entering into the business. So and the security, they are being overwhelmed with different security crises all over the country. So they are really trying, but the problem is that they are being reactive. Should they shift over to being proactive, you see that there is going to be a lot of improvements. So that is the area they need to work on. The last mile intelligence, coordination. There is no coordination. The DSS will keep their information to themselves, the police. So that is the problem. So they have to be a unified coordination using technology to determine these people as they move, even before they strike. We have the technology in Nigeria now. So there should be a political will to adopt these things. That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Timothy. I'm struggling a little bit to hear you clearly. I suspect that has to be the network. But thank you very much for your time, and we do hope to have you on the program some other time. We really do appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And now, comrade, let's start with you. It's International Children's Day. It's meant to be a day celebration. Instead, we are discussing abduction. Like, it's not funny, but somehow it is well. Like Nigerians will always say, what does this say about the state of governance and citizen protection in Nigeria?
Well, first of all, let's give God the glory for even witnessing this day. Our children in various parts of the country, the world is celebrating the International Children's Day, and it's peculiar in Nigeria too. However, the stories, the analysis differs from country to country. In Nigeria, like you rightly stated, we are discussing adoption of children instead of celebrating children. But I can also still tell you that we have a lot to celebrate. We have life to celebrate. We have childbirth to celebrate. We have motherhood to celebrate. I don't want us to streamline or limit the discussion of Children's Day, International Children's Day, to the happenings around insecurity. But we have to celebrate these children. At first instance, the life of these children. At first instance, provision. At first instance, motherhood. Through motherhood, children have been given birth to. So it's eminent that we celebrate and also thank God Almighty for the lives of these children. So, but I understand completely when you talk about the national concern, mostly Nigerian concern about our children. An instance that it has become a norm that kidnappers or perpetrators of kidnapping have directed their activities to kidnapping these children from their various schools and, you know, making the country looking very uncomfortable. I think that is where so many Nigerians have deemed it or looking at it that is not worth celebrated. But I feel there is a lot to celebrate amidst these insecurities that we find around young children and young ones that are coming up, which is so disheartening. The children are so innocent. The children are the future of our country, and we do not really expect them to be in this kind of menace. In recent times, in past few weeks, we've seen consistent kidnaps of children. The kidnapping has drifted into child adoption, and sufferings we have seen on social media, on main media streams is uncalled for. So yes, I want to agree with you. What is the celebration all about? When we feel that government at different stratas, local government level to the state government level, the federal government level should have put in more effort to see that these spaces where the kidnapped children are being managed and they are out of this menace. Driving to this place, myself and my colleague were trying to observe how empty the celebration looks like in Abuja. In those days, you see so many outreach places, fun places set up for children for today. But as I speak with you, the metropolis of Abuja is quite scanty. Everybody is scared of the same, what we call insecurity. So I think it's two ways. The coin is playing in two ways, but on the last part, I think we to give God the glory.
All right, now, Dr. Felix, let me come to you. We've seen pronouncements, policy pronouncements on school safeties, from safe school declarations to various presidential directives. You know, these things will happen, and before you know, the president will send either the Minister of Defense, the Inspector General of Police. But in all of this, why has the implementation consistently failed?
Well, first of all, let me first of all thank everyone for this privilege, and to let you know that today is a very wonderful day for us to discuss. When it comes to the issue of security, it's very technical. I wanted to have it at the back of your mind, even to the nation, because if there is issues and the president is sending people to go there, I think the people are more or less, they have more information even than the president when it comes to the issue of security, because they are like what would I call it? They are the 8 officers, they are the community officers, they are the security people who knows those who are new in the community. That's why when they introduce community policing by the new IG, it's a welcome idea for all of us. But just that it has not been implemented in the process whereby everybody will be involved in community policing. But because of the country we find ourselves, where everybody is adamant on insecurity issue, people just feel it is going to be the security agency responsibility. They don't know that security issue is collective issues. Myself and yourself should be security officers. We should have idea of wherever we find ourselves, what we are seeing that we are not really appreciating. So we should be conscious of people we know and the ones we don't know. So security issue is a collective effort that has to do with everybody, not just because of the president and the top security officers, but because we have left it for the security officers, they are short of some of the things that would have helped them to actualize it. Before, you see that people are discussing with people in the community. They gather the information, what they call information gathering. But now it's no more there. I don't know, maybe the presidency are not funding them to fund the people who give them information. That alone can become a problem. So there is need to have a synergy within the people and the security agency properly, whereby the security agency will have a tippers give to those who give them information, because they buy a recharge card to give information. They also need money to go to some various community to gather information, and information gathering is more or less like the security that we need to cover out insecurity. I think that's where we find it difficult, If that has not been done, we beg the presidency to see how they can boost that and give the security agency, the top officers, what we call funding to reach the grassroots for insecurity.
A lot of Nigerians would also ask if this is a governance crisis, because Nigeria have had repeated reassurance. So we are tired of hearing these things, and that's just the honest truth.
Yes.
We are tired of it. So one would wonder, from this administration on insecurity, at what point does a pattern of reassurance without result become a governance crisis?
So okay, but like,
because it does look like the government of the day are unable to manage the situation.
Okay, like if you hear what my colleague here said, people-oriented security base is what is lacking. So when you apply a particular techniques in solving insecurity and it's not working, we must diversify it. We've been glamoring on
but do you
the introduction of
think
technology.
the government have done enough? When you say
so when you say government, we have to be specific.
Yeah.
The problems that is happening is not happening in Abuja. The problem that is happening is not happening in the federal center. The problem is happening in states, and there are people that govern the states.
Certainly.
The lackadaistic attitude of governors, I still repeat, and local government chairman is sincerity of purpose. Let's dedicate 1 full year at both stratas, the local government level, the state government level, the federal government level. Let us sincerely dedicate one straight budget. If you see the budget Nigerian draw, you see the amount of money they slate to insecurity, so alarming, and yet we say we want to solve the issues of insecurity. It will not work. And unfortunately, these children,
you mean they are being underfunded?
They are being underfunded. That's exactly, you heard what he was saying. If there is no funding, you can't fight insecurity. To fight insecurity is expensive. Most especially that we're beginning to see that the technological aspect of fighting insecurity is what we really need in Nigeria. These spaces where they had kidnapped these children these days are more or less like ungoverned spaces where governance or development have not reached. So it's quite easy for somebody to walk in and then do his kidnap. 2 days, if you even see kidnappers, people don't communicate again. An example that they made in communities in those days, you know when a stranger is in your midst. But these days, nobody cares. Even when you see a stranger, you even tend to walk in instead of disseminating such information, because the provision for that intelligent gathering is lacking. There's a lacuna between that space. Application of technology. See, if you drive around as if you're going from Abuja to Kaduna, while you're entering Kaduna, you see chunk of small villages, and these are very poor settlements where those peasant people try to allow their children attain education. So you see very unkept environments called schools, where you can walk kilometers away from that school, you may not even see any building. So they are quite ungoverned. No development, no security architecture, no technology there. And you could see how easy these bandits can walk in, kidnap. If it is 50 students there, if it's 100 students there, easily kidnap them and walk away with them. So the application of technology is very key now. We cannot run a budget, a fiscal budget, and observe that the percentage or proportion given to insecurity, solving insecurity, is just not encouraging. So how do we solve that? Now let me leave that for federal government. Then when allocation is being taken to the state government, would tell me how many governors out of 36 and 1 have you seen dedicated his or her tenure for solving insecurities? I don't think I'm so perplexed hearing that insecurity is gradually drifting into the southwest. It's
unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, because this, well, I can beat my chest that it will never happen in the south, because you have a lot to deal with. The coastal areas, you must definitely deal with them to say you want to come and perpetrate insecurity. But the southwest, that education is intact, that where people are is a more active domain. I feel bad that it is becoming also porous for bandits or whatever they call them to infiltrate those schools. Governors or governors must strip from, they should leave the road, they should leave everything they are doing And let's dedicate in this country one fiscal year budget from federal level to state level to local government and dedicate it for solving insecurities. Sorry to make that as that an analysis. You go to a place like Rwanda, where they call it Kigali. Almost everywhere is how will I call it? What they call it? Technology is always everywhere. So you can't do anything and go away free like that. What does it cost to put in 60 cameras? It should be a point of policy point. Every building in this country, every business environment must have a 60 camera in their domain. And let us see how this thing will not stop. And then again, combating. The Nigerians have not risen to the point where we want to combat insecurity. So it's quite alarming. A pity that it has drifted to child abuse. Our children in schools have begun to be more abused. They've left the cities, killing of people in the cities now, to targeting very poor schools and kidnapping the children. So people are asking, Nigerians are asking, what is there to celebrate today that is being International Children's Day?
All right, thank you for that. But before we move forward, let's look at this data. I don't know if my technicals have it with them, but I'm glad you talked about the state governors. But from President Tinubu's administration, here we have first year of his administration, May 2023 to May 2024. And these data are from armed conflict, location and events data, as well as Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited, also the Amnesty International. We recorded 4,556 persons killed from 2023 to May 2023 to May 2024. Now, 10 months into the administration, we also recorded 6,931 violent deaths. And this is according to this data.
That data is for victims, or
no? This data is for victims, both the people that are abducted by bandits, both the people that were killed.
Okay.
And now we move to January to March 2024. 160 of them were children. So these data are there. They're not lying. It keeps repeating. We agreed clearly that we are going to hold the state government. But then again, you also ask yourself, Mr. President is the commander-in-chief. So you will say, it's right to ask, is the federal government doing enough to hold state governors accountable for security within their jurisdiction, or is there a dangerous blame-shifting culture at play here? Because we should not be having this conversation. There should be no excuse for this. These are children. And I'm wondering, what is the future going to look like when these children grow up with some level of traumas in their head? The situation keeps getting worse. So I'm wondering, I understand the fact that you said, okay, state governors should be asked some questions. But then again, do you think the federal government is also holding the state governors accountable enough when it comes to insecurity? Because if we are not safe in a country, I don't know what we are doing, honestly.
Okay, we have to look at the policy drive too. The autonomy of the states is also guaranteed. So what I mean is that when you give allocation to a particular state, you may necessarily have limited control of what is done. So because need assessments, the state functions based on its need assessment. So you may not be able to, I don't know, I'm not too confident about what I'm saying, but you may not be able to, the autonomy of the states would be respected. So governors walk into their states and then spend money depending on what they feel at the need assessment of the state. But again, I have to agree with you that if the federal government whose responsibility to run the government, the entirety governance of the entirety of the country, deem it fit to say they are placing priority. Of course, almost all the governors, what is the essence of having what they call APC Governors Forum, PDP Governors Forum, and the Governors Forum? If the problem facing this country is insecurity, and those governors in their various forums cannot prioritize insecurity. While we were in government in River State, Amechi, the then governor of River State, Rotimi Amechi, used to lay one emphasis: if you don't secure the smallest community around your city, that community will be used as a tool to hurting you, and that is what is happening. So if you feel that Benue State is the state that is not secured, and then you are sharing boundary, for instance, Kogi State is sharing boundary with Benue State, you must also, the Kogi State governor must also begin to think of how to secure a state, because the thrift of bandits and what they call them will be into a state, and this is what is happening. So I don't know what the governors are actually doing in their forum. So when you talk about federal government, it baffles me, because they have the autonomy, they have the liberty to also have their forum. So they have almost 80% of the resources, what they call revenue, shared to them, allocation shared to them. And this federal government we have today has been so benevolent to the state governors, because it feels that this is how the only way the people can reach development. So you see, most of the monies that this government is having is being pushed to at the state level. The question to me, in my own sincere opinion, is we must hold accountable the governors. What do they do? How can a governor sit down in the state and people are killed? In those days, the likes of Steele and Meshi, even the president, when the president was a governor, his colleagues around governance, they don't tolerate this kind of a thing. So the governors must be held responsible. What are their policy lines? What are their concentration base for citizen development and safety? We must ask ourselves those questions. So I'm not directing, see, we are a federation. What it means that almost the federal government are almost looking like an administrative platform. That is what, if you look at the Tinubu's administration, they are only administering. They send these functionalities to the state level. That's why at all times you hear the president say the state governors should be in charge of their state. When he says that, it's not about politics alone. It's about securing the states to a tight fist. This is the same president, when he was governor, that didn't have revenue. He held his states, delivered dividends of democracy and protection to his people. I think the governors must be held responsible for this thing we are.
Dr. Felix, now why do you think children are now the target in this menace?
Now, basically, with what we have seen so far, why they target children is because even the elder ones, they don't care about them anymore. People feel that once you are above 50, 40, 60, if you are kidnapped, they should just allow you to go, because even the world now is stressed. But when you pick a child, you know the feelings you have. So that feeling is what makes them to transmit the kidnapping movement from the elders to these young ones. And because you cannot just sit down and see a child crying because he has not eaten and you want to eat, you feel the pain. There are some times in different locations where fathers, mothers, they've not eaten, they go all out to outsource fund to feed their children, and they pretend to the children that they have eaten, but they have not eaten. So this is where you see them shifting. But at the same time, let me leverage on what you just said. Gone are the days when children are our responsibility, even when they are not our biological children. But today, governors are just sleeping because they feel that state, I'm responsible for the state. Before now, any governors within your border, whatever that is going on in your state is my responsibility. Because if that your state border is porous, it will affect my state. But today, governors are playing. You see governors telling you that my state, I'm in charge, but they don't want to have a synergy among themselves, because there is what they call political differences among governors. Exactly. So there is need for them to understand the fact that Nigeria is all of us responsibility. They must work together to deliver insecurity issues with the security agency. But let me draw your attention to this. Some states, which I know, they discuss with the security officers who lead the team of security. This state is collecting money dividend for a security issue, and they are working where this other state is not collecting. How do you want to see the insecurity issue to be balanced? So there is need for the federal government to work with the governors so that this thing will disseminate to people. They post me to a state, and what they are giving me is not up to what they are giving the person that is sharing border with me. Do you think I will allow them to have peace? So there is need for us to have synergy of security issue, insecurity issue, so that we will have a balance among ourselves as a security agencies. But when you give this one this, you give this one this one is complaining, and this one feel because you give me what is above my own, and my own is not up to your own, you think you can't get the security we are talking about. There's need for federal government to look into the synergy on what they share to call off this insecurity issue, so that they can have balance. They won't be biased in the security, they won't compromise it. But they can compromise it if I have not eaten properly like you do. I'll feel you are shortchanging me. That's where we find ourselves as Africa. And in order for us to get it right, we must balance the equation so that people will not be compromising people's future and destiny of the young ones that we have into the insecurity issue.
Okay, let me take you back a bit to when you said the military is being underfunded. But then again, Nigerians would ask, why is it so difficult for this for the perpetrator of this act to be brought to book? Because in Nigeria today, when you come out and criticize the government, in less than an hour you'll be picked up. But how come these bandits, these terrorists, they go live on social media, and up till now we are I mean, it's sounding very unrealistic. Is it the unwillingness of the government to track these people down?
Bandits are human beings, and they get stronger every day, and that is because they are compensated. I was looking for a better word. What they take ransom, and today's ransom is not in thousands. Today's ransom is in millions. So when there's a military terminology, when you advance into war, you prepare for war. Did you get that? When you advance into war, you prepare for war. So you don't push a bandit and relax. So we don't preempt. So we are not proactive. Now, few months ago, we are all in this country where they say, oh, the US team have landed, we're going to do. But I also know that it is expensive. The bandits are littered here and there, in between communities. If you don't have a physical, and imagery of what is going on, you may just discuss it as if bandits are just located in a particular place. So why are government not going there to blast them off? That is not the scenario. That's not the situation. There's a deliberate movement from people concentrated areas to non-people concentrated areas. There's a deliberate movement from intelligence, moving away from intelligence to where they have comfortability. Let me shock you. Do you know that these people we call bandits, some of them settle down in the communities and also provide for the communities? So there's also an abating attitude from communities. There are some communities you go, they don't also divulge. They don't give you the intelligence, because what government cannot provide, these people go there, provide social amenities, and they are comfortable. Provide as far as food to hold on to those communities. So it disables the operations of the security agencies. I want to still go back to technology. Do you know these people have grown to the stage that they have drones. They have very ammunition, right? Very complicated. How would I call it? Very sophisticated.
So how come they have more sophisticated arms than our military?
No. I'm not saying they have more than us. So the combating aspect of this is what I'm discussing. The Nigerian security agencies may not function the way you think it, because for them to finish a particular bandit within a particular area, it will have to also attempt innocent. You know how we react to the fact that when innocent people die alongside these bandit activities. I don't know if you have something to.
No. Let me add to what my brother just said. You know, sometimes you must divide the means of this insecurity issue. When a politician is controlling the security agency, you cannot get results. Exactly. I just have to be sincere with you. A governor, for instance, is in the state, and the director or whoever that is leading the security team is trying to take a decision over insecurity, and he got a call from a governor and said, please, that person you are just arrested is my own. Do you think you can? So we have a complicated issue. Political influence that is influenced by a politician that is not making us to get it right. Until that is separated from this issue, whereby a politician can be held responsible. If you are a governor in the olden days. You cannot, if people died beyond the numbers of the people expected in the state, you'll be held responsible. But today, governors will just sit back and see people are dying because those people that are dying is not their relative. They feel, the community, I don't know what is going on. But there is need to hold everybody that is under the purview of politics responsible and accountable for insecurity, from local government chairman to whoever that has sworn the oath under the Federal Republic of Nigeria to assume any office over insecurity issue.
Let me quickly take a case study. While I traveled from Abuja to, let me give kudos to the Nasarawa State Governor. While I traveled from Maraba axis to what they call Lafia, you will see the good job the governor has done to aid insecurity. To aid security, rather, to preempt insecurity. Number one, the roads are very good down straight to Lafia. So a bandit does know what he's doing, or a kidnapper that knows what he's doing, will not want to go and try it on such possibly. Then as you enter at intervals, you see the toll gates that serve as a breaker, where you will have to pay your toll gate to access the next community or whatever. And these toll gates are fortified with technology. From a distance, left, right, back and front, you will be assessed before you approach. So the role of technology is key. So before a bandit or kidnappers move closer to those communities around that toll gates, the security agencies that are on that toll gate would have known, and then they would rather apprehend them instead of allowing them to move down. So this cut across all the axes. So I will agree with me, there's a very minimal attempt to infiltrate Nasarawa State. So this is what I mean by a governor deliberately sacrificing or looking at his priority list to say, look, the country is not safe. I must safeguard, first of all, my people. If Nigeria is not safe, nothing is going to work. Elections are coming. We are crying. We must have a dialogue on how we should have a safe Nigeria as against the elections that are coming. The north is not safe. The southwest is beginning to be unsafe again, and yet we are pushing
the next election
where you want millions of Nigerians
to come out and
vote. What are you seeing? Are you even seeing INEC doing anything about sensitization? Nothing is going on. So this is where we find ourselves. Let us not change the topic. To the fact of it is that our children have become the soft target. Our prayers, governors should sit up, get a holistic list of the schools and their positions and their what they call it, where they are cited, and begin to see how they can collaborate with security agencies to see how those schools can be protected. With the use of technology, as we are here, somebody is seeing us somewhere. Somebody is seeing us miles away from where we are seated, hearing our voice. It is not undoable, it is doable. But except this government concentrates to getting that right, we may not wring ourselves out of it. Bandits are human beings. Bandits or kidnappers, they are human beings. So they are also people that prepare themselves to make sure that the job they are coming to do is done perfectly. What are we doing as a country?
Well, thank you for your thoughts. So, if there is one issue we've discussed majorly on this program, it's been insecurity. I remember you've spoken about it for Comrade a number of times, countless times. Like at this point, I wouldn't say I'm tired, but to an extent, it's exhausting to talk about these things. Now let's look at the way forward. What changes must Nigeria's security forces make specifically to protect schools and educational institutions? Because when you look at it, if this thing continues to go the way it's going, or if we don't bring an end to this, it's going to affect the educational sector. And you know what a country without education is. So how do we going forward, how do the security forces make significant changes so that at least our institutions, our children, schools would be safe?
thanks, a big, sorry sir, before you say something, a big thank you to a very intelligent young policeman we have as IG of police today. Because he is coming from the grounds of operation, he understands that we cannot, one policeman cannot guide this building except we, that is your opening remarks,
yes,
except we decide to guide ourselves. So he has moved for state policing. The work of state policing is enormous. The work of state policing is what will first of all relegate or checkmate all these things. A community will come together, local government will come together, nominate intelligent people for training that will give that will disseminate intelligence reports. So like you gave the illustration you gave at the beginning of this program, if the community begins to sense, or a school gathering or whatever gathering begin to sense presence of security personalities, these bandits will also give way, because they will now also be aware that, look, that place they are going to, there are people that are also going to wage them. But on government spaces, you don't have anybody to wage. I gave an example of such schools. So the first thing is, let Nigerians begin to, the government at every level, begin to see how we can work to achieve this state policing. Is very key. Number two, funding. He said it too, funding. We hear our soldiers cry, we hear our security personnel officers cry for underfunding and provisions of serious ammunition to battle this situation. To me, if these two things are in place, I think we'll go further from where we are. Maybe not undermine the efforts of the few security agencies, personalities we have that are putting in all their best day and night. I can tell you for free that the chief of defense staff is not sleeping, the chief of army staff is not sleeping, the CDS is not sleeping. These security agencies, their heads down to the police, they are not sleeping every day, but they are only making use of what is at their disposal.
All right, Dr. Felix, before we wrap it up, let me get talk to us about what you think about our borders, because as you've spoken quite all right about community gatherings, intelligence gathering, but then again, we've often heard that these terrorists, I mean these bandits, a lot of them are not even from Nigeria but neighboring country, and you wonder, of course they did not disappear, they came from somewhere. So speak to us about our borders and how porous it has become.
First of all, borders have been compromised. Exactly. In the sense that there is what they call when you are too close to me as a security officer that lives in the community, whenever you see me coming in, you just feel somebody that is close to you, you don't even checkmate the person. So there is need for what they call holistic over-oiling by changing the people who control the borders. You cannot keep somebody in the border for 3-4 years and you expect a result. I just have to let you know that, because when somebody is used to a place, is doing transaction. But before now, what I used to know about security is that when you are in the border, after 6 months they move you to another region. That's so that this information, like intelligence gathering, can be very strong and the security of the border can be more tight. But you leave somebody for 3 years in the border and you think he's not doing transaction, he's also doing a business. So there is need for the security head to look into this border security, whereby anybody that have stayed in the border should be transferred. They should transfer them back to the headquarters and move people who want to work into the border, because when somebody is there for 4 years, he's already compromised. He has compromised. But when somebody stays there for 6 months, he knows that in 6 months time he's leaving the place, he will give his best to the border. But because of compromising, you keep people for 4 years, 5 years, they're in the border for a particular border, and you think they're not doing transaction. So there is need for the security agency from all the heads to look into this. Whoever that has overstayed in any bit for above 6 months should be returned back to another region, so that this what they call intelligent can be used. Somebody who have experience in this border for 6 months can go to another border and give his experience that he has from this border into another border. But when you leave them for too long, I'm sorry, you can't get anything.
Again, I want to add to what you have said. our internal borders. Let me talk about our internal borders, because recently the bandits have been drifting from one state to the other. Tomorrow they are in Katsina State, they do something in Katsina, so shouting in Katsina, they are in Ibadan. So we have to checkmate. To me, I think our toll gates should come back. Toll gates that are technological driven should be back, because these toll gates will also serve as a checkmate to the movement of bandits. Toll gates that have technology. We have almost in every part of this country we have what they call a MTN mask. Those masks should be put into use. We have to begin to install gadgets that can checkmate. It was done in Rivers State. When Wike was Rivers State governor, you can't. We've never heard of this kind of thing. You cannot try it because of the determination of the governor. He is determined. You can. Day after day, it is his words. Wike will tell you that he is not in for this, and you may not be able to do that. So we must bring back those culture, basically for our internal borders. For our external borders, he has said it. Personnel must be changed at all times. What is the relationship between Nigeria and Benin Republic? What is the relationship between Nigeria, the countries we share borders with? What relationship are we having with them? Because if you drive bandits from country A, once they enter country B, you unnecessarily don't have anything to do, any hold on them. So how do we partner with our various countries to protect our external borders? Kudos to the Minister of Defense. When it was CDS, he has also done a program where he invited all African CDS to discuss our external borders. How do we collaborate to protect our external boundaries, our external borders? We are still talking. We also have a project we want to do on internal borders. You can't understand the fact why bandits will move from Kogi State, perpetrate killings, and as we are starting in Kogi State, 3 days or 4 days time they are in Benue State. It means there is problem with our internal borders, which we must checkmate. And these things are doable. Very, very doable, except the governors are not concentrating on what to do. 1 year is enough for us to solve this thing. And where our technicians, year after year, we roll out technicians that call themselves, what they call them? Science students.
Okay.
What they call them? It's our engineers. Government should begin to bring them together. How do we apply local technology to solve these problems?
Which is easier. Which is very, very easier. It's just for the state governors to please allow the local traditional rulers, those community leaders, to be involved in the insecurity issue, because somebody that is underfunded cannot give you information. Who has not eaten cannot run very fast. So there is need for us to bring them together. Whatever that is given to the state as state allocation should be equally be designated to those people, so that those people will not be feel maligned because somebody who has not been carried along will overlook some certain things. That is how we find ourselves in this issue. All
right, as we wrap it up, the 2027 general election is just by the corner. You know, as much as you've spoken so much about the responsibilities of state governors, we also cannot deny the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the commander-in-chief and, of course, the #1 person. Now, how is the security situation affecting the public confidence in his administration? Looking at the fact that in few months we are just going to have the general election. Do you think Nigerians still trust
public confidence? Is at its lowest degree. We're all aware. We shouldn't pretend about that. To me, I am one of the persons that believe that this country will gradually move into progression. But again, if you don't build the people's confidence, you may not get it. Let me make it clear to you. You've said elections are coming. What determines democracy is when the people elect people that the minority that will rule them. So you could see the chambles, you could see what politicians are doing recently. The APC, the MDC, the what they call ADC primaries that have just happened. You could see how they play with the psyche of Nigerians to say 700 million have voted, 300 million have voted, and how they manipulate figures. This is not the way to go. We must build confidence in the people.
All right.
We must discuss how to secure this country for the forthcoming election.
And we hope we are able to, you know, overcome that fight. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time on the program. This Mr. Comrade Duke Alamboye and Dr. Felix has been speaking with us regarding the Oyo school children abduction and, of course, insecurity in Nigeria generally. And on this Children's Day, this is to the federal government. Enough of the condolences, enough of the sympathies, enough of the press release. And now it's time to ask, rather, because if we cannot protect the children within their classroom, within their states, within their environment, I wonder what we are going to promise them. For every children's life matter, from Oyo State to Plateau community, and Nigerian deserves a government that acts fast and as fast as they can. This is where I'll leave it this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. This is Spotlight with Tinaza, and to this point we draw the curtains. Have yourself a beautiful evening, and once again, happy International Children's Day. God bless Nigeria.